Hey everybody, Carol Malone here with another myth to bust. And today's myth we're busting is we don't need to keep learning. Once you're certified, you're all set. Well, the truth is the world keeps changing and so must we. So you ever meet someone who proudly says, I was certified back in 2009. The same way someone might say, I still have my Blockbuster card. And you're thinking, okay, but do you still use a flip phone and dial-up internet? Because in sterile processing, the I got certified once is not a flex. It's a starting point. So there's this myth floating around, sometimes whispered, sometimes shouted. Once you're certified, you're set. You're done. You, my friend, have arrived. Well, as if certification is the finish line. As if the field politely stops evolving the moment you pass your exam. As if manufacturers, regulators, and technology all agree to freeze in place in time so we could relax. If only, my friends, if only that were true. The truth is, technology evolves. IFUs evolve. Standards evolve. Honestly, the only thing that doesn't evolve is the manufacturer's willingness to consider sterile processing during product design. They're in their innovative labs, dreaming up devices with 17 channels, hidden screws, and lumen pathways that look like corn mazes. And SPD is standing there like, awesome, great. But how do we clean it? And the manufacturer says, oh, yeah, we don't know. We didn't think about that. We don't even make a brush for that. So here's where it gets real. Hospitals make huge purchasing decisions based on service lines, surgeon preferences, and revenue projections, but rarely, let me repeat that, but rarely with SPD at the table. And that, my friends, that is a huge problem. Because if we don't have the right equipment, the right tools, the right testing devices, the right drying cabinets, the right automated washers, the right staffing levels, then that shiny new instrument that they brought in becomes a patient safety risk before it ever hits the OR. If a hospital wants to expand services, add robotics, or bring in new specialty trays, then sterile processing needs the authority to say, we need new equipment to reprocess this safely. We need more staff to handle increased volume. We need training before this goes live. Not after, not during, but before. Because you can't build a skyscraper and then ask the foundation to just figure it out. So here's the hard lesson. Even when we follow the steps, even when we do everything right, sometimes the steps still are not enough. We learned that with the EGD scopes and colonoscope outbreaks a few years back. Those devices were processed correctly as instructed, and patients still got sick. Not because sterile processing failed, but because the technology outpaced the instruction. The risk outpaced the standards, and the learning needed to catch up. So why does continuing education matter? Well, this is why CEUs really are not a burden. They're not busy work. They're not hoops to jump through or just a checkbox exercise. They, my friends, they are protection. Protection for patients, protections for your certification, protections for your career, protections for your department when Joint Commission or DMV walks through that door and says, show me your competencies. And trust me, my friends, they will walk through those doors and they will ask these questions and they will want to see these documentations. So competency isn't just a one-time event. Competency is a living, breathing expectation of you every day. Instrumentations are becoming more advanced and evolved. They're becoming more intricate. Flexible scopes are becoming, more flexible. In all the wrong ways, I might add. And SPD is just expected to keep up, even when we weren't invited to the conversation that created the problem in the first place. So how do we stay ready? Well, my friends, we learn, we grow, we stay curious, we stay humble, we stay hungry. Because the moment we stop learning is the moment we become dangerous. Certification is not the end of the journey. It is the license to begin. In sterile processing, staying the same is not an option. Our field moves, our standards move, our technology moves. And if we don't move with it, patients pay the price. So no, the myth is 100% wrong. We do not need to keep learning, not because someone said so, not because a regulator demands it, but because every instrument we touch becomes the part of someone's story. And they deserve a story that ends well. Thank you.